Hello everybody, thanks for joining me for Vinyasa Yoga. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class or you've never taken a yoga class before, it is structured very much like any other exercise class. We start nice and slow with a warm-up. We start to build some heat in the body. Then we get into the bulk of our practice where we're moving around a lot more on the mat. Our heart rate is picked up, and then we end with a cool down. We slow down our movement, slow down our breath, and we finish on our backs, nice and still for about 2 to 3 minutes in a final rest period. And that time is given to let our body absorb all the benefits from the class. We sort of get out of our physical body and focus more on our mental and our spiritual, because yoga is not just about our physical practice, it's about how we can translate that physical practice into our everyday life and how is it affecting us mentally. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as we go through our sequence. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body. Don't let your ego get in the way of your practice. Take breaks if you need to. Skip poses if they just don't feel right. And always make sure to check with the doctor before you start a new exercise regimen. So today we're going to start laying down flat on our back. So you'll start with your feet at the front of the mat. Knees bent, feet on the floor, and then we'll roll down until we're flat on our back. And we'll start here. For now, you can let the knees fall together. Place your arms nice and wide out at your sides along the floor, palms face up. And we'll start with a few deep breaths. Deepening the normal pattern of your breath. Really filling the chest up with breath. Maybe closing the eyes if that feels comfortable. Then start to take some cleansing breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you exhale, imagine that stress is leaving the body. If you'd like a little more sensation in the chest, opening up the shoulders, you can take the arms up overhead and grab opposite elbows. And if you try that out and it doesn't feel comfortable for you, revert back to the previous pose with arms down at your sides. And keep taking some nice cleansing breaths for me. In through nose. Out through mouth. We'll take a few more rounds of breath just like this. In through nose. Out through mouth. If your arms are up overhead, I'll have you bring them back down by your sides and then separate the knees so they're no longer touching. And feet should be in line with the hips. Slowly extend your right leg up towards the ceiling, pressing out through the heel. Leg does not have to straighten completely. And then hold on to the back of the thigh for some support. Pressing nice and strongly out through the heel so we get a nice long stretch on the back side of the leg. And we'll breathe here, allowing these muscles to relax and relieve any tension they might be holding. Maybe try shifting the foot side to side. Maybe you'll feel a little more of a stretch. Now point through the toes so we can feel a stretch on the front side of the leg a little bit here. Now cross the ankle into figure 4. So the raised ankle is going to cross over to the bent knee. If you look down at your legs, they should look like an upside down 4. Arms will place down at your sides. So now we're opening up our hips a bit here. You might feel plenty sensation here. You can stay here. If you'd like a bit more sensation, you're going to float that left foot off the mat, flex the feet, keeping the ankles in line with the knees. And if you floated that foot off the mat, you can thread your arms through so you can hold on to the back of the left thigh for a little support. And again, we'll take a few breaths here. The hips are sort of a hot spot. People tend to hold a lot of tension in their hips. So try to draw the breath to the space you feel the most sensation, sort of asking the muscles to release the stress that they're holding. Then we'll gently release, sending both feet back down to the mat. Extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, pressing out through the heel, holding on to the back of the thigh. Taking a few breaths here. Then go ahead and point through the toes, getting the stretch on the front side of the leg. We'll take a few breaths here. Then release and cross the ankle into figure 4. Again, you can stay here, or you're going to float that right foot off the mat and hold on to the back of the thigh for support. Feet stay flexed. Then release your hold, sending both feet back down to the mat. Draw both knees in towards your chest, holding on below the knees, pulling thighs close to body, feet side by side, and we'll hold here. If you feel any discomfort on your knees for any reason, you can hold on to the back of your thighs instead. Getting a nice stretch for the low back here. And again, just deepening the breath. Breathing through this stretch. Then go ahead and roll completely over to one side of your body and slowly press yourself up to a seated position facing the front of your mat. Any comfortable seated position will do. Hands are placed at your sides. Please ignore my nosy neighbors. We're going to lower our chins to our chest and start some neck circles in a clockwise direction, nice and slow all the way around. Being careful as you go around the back, try not to crunch the vertebrae, keeping a lift in the head as head rolls around the back. We'll take one more circle. Take your time. And then when you're finished with this last circle, rest with your chin to your chest. Take a few moments here. We'll start in a counterclockwise direction, nice and slow all the way around. We'll take one more circle in the counterclockwise direction. No need to rush. And then again, resting with chin to chest once you finish that circle. Lift your chin from your chest so that you can look forward and bring the bottoms of your feet together into butterfly pose. Press firmly into the pinky edges of the feet. Find length through your spine up towards the ceiling. If you need a little less sensation in the hips, slide the heels away from the body. If you like a little more sensation, draw those heels in nice and close. Spine stays long towards the ceiling. Now everyone start to round your spine. Drop your chin towards your chest. Then we'll find the lift and arch, gazing up towards the ceiling. Let's take this a few times. Rounding the spine, chin to chest, lifting and arching, gazing up to the ceiling. One more time, round the spine, lift and arch, then settle back into a neutral spine. Straighten your legs so they're out in front of you, then swing them behind you, coming into a tabletop position on our hands and our knees, wrists under shoulders, and knees stacked underneath the hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Leg nice and active, heel in line with hip, in line with shoulders. We're going to draw the right knee in towards our chest, taking a crunch, rounding the spine, lifting the knee up nice and high as we draw belly in, stepping or manually placing the foot into alignment. Ankle right below the knee, feet in between the hands. Top of the left foot comes to the mat. As we breathe in through the nose, we'll lift our right arm up towards the ceiling, drawing the belly in. Exhale out through the mouth, fingertips come down towards the floor. Nice slow movement. Deep breath in, arm comes up. Slow exhale brings the hand down to the mat. One last time, deep breath in as we open the chest, we strengthen our core, we exhale, hand to floor. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, then return to tabletop, knee to mat. Still on the tips of the fingers. Left leg extends behind us, heel in line with hip. Give me a crunch, rounding the spine, lifting the knee nice and high, stepping or placing the foot into alignment. Draw the breath in through your nose, left arm up to ceiling, draw belly in, gaze is up. Exhale, hand comes down. Breath in for 2, arm up. Left foot stays flat to mat. Exhale, fingertips come down. Last time, make this your deepest breath yet as the arm comes up. Slow exhale as the hand comes down. Extend your left leg behind you, point through the toes, then return to a tabletop position. Bring your elbows down to the mat, stacking them under the shoulders, palms face down to the mat, into puppy pose. Head relaxes. Take a few breaths here. Getting a little extra blood flow to our heads. We're lengthening our spines. This is option 1 for your rest pose throughout the class today. Option 2 is to settle all the way to child's pose, sending hips back to the heels, forehead to mat. So if you're trying child's pose and you're not quite comfortable, you're more than welcome to take puppy's pose, the prior pose, instead. We're going to finish our warm-up here with a moment of stillness and some deep breathing. Deepen the breath. Sort of turn that attention inward for a moment. See how you feel in your body. Just sort of taking a mental note. Nice deep breaths. Nice and slow rise to a tabletop position, and again lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, around the spine, step or place the foot into lunge. Right toes tuck onto the mat. We'll lift right knee into the air as we lift up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward and drawing belly in, high lunge. Step up to half lift, right foot steps up to meet the left. We flatten the back till it's parallel with the floor, hands to shins, shoulders draw away from the ears. We lower to forward fold by bending the knees, dropping the belly to the thighs, letting arms and head hang heavy. Your forward fold, your belly should be touching your thighs, so bend your knees enough to make that happen. Send the weight towards the balls of the feet. Keep the hips reaching high towards the ceiling. One vertebrae at a time, we're going to round our spines until we're all the way upright. Leave your chin to your chest until you make it all the way to standing. Once you make it up, give me a deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms out at your sides, up overhead. As we exhale, we'll return to forward folds, bending the knees, dropping belly to thighs. Slowly rise to half lift, flattening your back. Step back into plank pose, so bend your knees so you can plant your hands and step back into plank. Lower the knees to tabletop and uncurl the toes. Lean forward until shoulders are out past the wrists, then bend the elbows, keeping them close to body into chaturanga, then lower all the way down flat to mat, tops of feet to mat, elbows up to the ceiling. We'll We'll lift the chest off the mat to baby cobra, shoulders wrapped behind the heart. You should be able to float your hands off the mat here. Use the strength of your core to lift your chest. Then we'll press to our rest position. So that's either puppy pose or child's pose, your choice. Take just a breath or two here. Slowly rise back to tabletop and we'll prepare for our first down dog. Spread the fingers nice and wide and tuck your toes onto the mat. If this is your first time taking down dog, we're going to break it into parts. If you're familiar with down dog, go ahead and lift the hips now. For beginners, we're going to start by lifting the knees off the mat and drawing our belly in. Keeping the knees bent, we'll send the hips up towards the ceiling, bring our belly back towards our thighs so our spine is nice and long. Pressing firmly into the pointer finger and your thumb. Upper arms rotate outward to expand the back side of the body. We're going to hold and breathe here. Even if you've done down dog 1,000 times and your legs feel really tight, you can always bend the knees. Then everyone look forward. We'll shift the weight into the hands and step our right foot into a lunge position, ankle below knee. You can always place your foot into alignment if you need. We'll step up to half lift, flattening the back, hands to shins. Lowering down to folds, belly comes back to thighs. And one vertebrae at a time, we'll make our way back to standing. We're going to do that 2 more times through. Deep breath in to bring the arms up overhead, gaze up to the ceiling. Exhale to fold, belly meets the thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step back into a plank position. Lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward, shoulders past the wrist, bend the elbows, keeping them close to body, then bring yourself all the way flat to the mat. Inhale to lift your chest to baby cobra, and exhale to your rest position. Taking a breath or two here. Bringing the attention inward, taking a mental note, how you feel in your body. Did any one pose feel particularly good? Did any one pose feel particularly tight? Just making a note, what feels good for you. Slowly find your way back to tabletop, preparing for down dog, toes tuck onto the mat. Send the hips up to the ceiling, belly back to the thighs. If you're a first timer or new to down dog, we're just gonna stay here this time again. Breathing nice and deep, focusing on lengthening the spine. Low belly draws in and gazes between the feet. Deep breaths here. Look forward and step or place your left foot into lunge. Step up to half lift, flattening your back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And slowly round your spine up to standing. Take your time. Next inhale brings the arms overhead. Last time through. Exhale to fold, belly comes down. Rise, half lift. Step back into plank. Drop the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, bend the elbows, lower all the way flat. Inhale to lift the chest, and exhale to your rest position. We're gonna rise right back to tabletop so we can start picking up that heart rate and find our down dog. Hips come up to the ceiling. So you're more than welcome to stay here with the knees bent. If you'd like to take it a step further, try straightening one leg at a time, pressing the heel firmly to the floor. And you can hold here, sort of loosening the muscles on the back side of the leg. And then you'll switch and try straightening the other leg. And I would suggest just playing here for the rest of the class, especially if you're new or a beginner. So pedaling the feet, pressing one heel down to the mat and then the next, keeping the breath nice and deep. Everyone look forward and step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you draw the breath in. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale as you slowly rise to standing, then exhale at the top. Bring your hands behind your back, interlacing the fingers. Resist the urge to tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Instead, send it long towards the floor, drawing the belly in. Shoulders are wrapped behind the heart as we open the chest. If you like a little more sensation here, continue to straighten the arms and press the palms firmly together. Gaze is up towards the ceiling and belly is active. If you need a little ease here, put a bend in the elbow. We'll release our grip, bringing our arms out at shoulder height, directly in front of us, and giving ourselves a hug, wrapping the arms around the body and dropping chin to chest. Take a few breaths here. Getting a nice stretch on the back side of the body, and take a mental note of which arm is on the bottom, so that the next time we come back to this pose, you can switch arms. Bring your arms back out to shoulder height. Inhale as you bring the arms up overhead, and exhale to forward folds, belly to thighs. Rise to half lift, flatten your back. Step your right foot back into a lunge position. Left knee is right over the ankle. You might need to kick that foot back a few times to get into alignment. Then we'll bring our hands to our thighs and extend our arms overhead into Anjaneyasana. Left knee is still over the ankle, and we're on the ball of the right foot. Pressing nice and firmly out through the right heel. Our right glute is nice and active. Our left thigh is nice and active. Nice, strong lunge pose. Take a few deep breaths into your chest. We'll open into Warrior Two. So open to face the right side of the mat. Your right heel makes contact with the floor. Your arms are at shoulder height. Gaze is out over the left middle finger. Hips and shoulders are facing the long edge of your mat. Warrior Two is a great hip opener. So if you like a little more opening in the hips, try lifting up to the tippy toes with the left foot, sinking down into that hip, keeping the legs nice and active, pressing firmly into the the pinky edge of your right foot. If you lifted the heel off the mat, go ahead and lower it now. We'll rise to reverse warrior. Left arm comes up towards the ceiling. We'll straighten the leg, giving it a little bit of a rest, and hold here. Try not to press all your weight back onto your right hand. If it's on your thigh, use your core to hold you up. Then we'll return to Warrior Two. Knee bends, arms at shoulder height. Windmill the arms down into a lunge position, back to the floor, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back into a plank position. Lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga. Bend the elbows. Keep them close to your body. Come all the way flat to the mat. Inhale, lift the chest, baby cobra. And exhale to child's or puppy pose, whichever you prefer. And take a moment of stillness here. Deepen your breath. Sort of check in with yourself again, how you feel, what thoughts are going through your mind. And know that as you stretch and work your body physically, you're relieving tension from the body, relieving stress from the body, easing your mind as you deepen your breath. Slowly rise to a tabletop position and find down dog. Hips come up to the ceiling. Remembering that your knees can stay slightly bent or you can pedal the feet. If both legs are straight, try shifting the weight to one heel and the other, sort of shifting the hips side to side, just finding a little bit of movement. Don't lose the length in the spine. Look forward and step your right foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Exhale as you lower to fold. Inhale as you slowly rise to standing, then exhale at the top. Again, let's bring the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, opening the chest. Tailbones long to the floor, core is active. Pressing those palms together if you like a little more sensation. Gaze is up towards the ceiling. Deepen the breath. Lift the arms out at shoulder height directly in front of us and give yourself a hug. Trying to switch arms if you remember which was on the bottom, lowering chin to chest. Bring the arms back out to shoulder height. Give me a deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms back overhead. Slow exhale out the mouth, finding forward fold. Rise to half lift. Step your left foot back into lunge. If you want to challenge your balance, try lifting the arms straight overhead. If you need a little help, bring the hands to the thighs first, whatever gets those arms overhead. Now we're pressing firmly out through the left heel. Left glute is nice and active. We're standing tall, taking nice deep breaths. Open to warrior two, facing the left side of the mat. Left heel makes contact with the floor, arms at shoulder height. If you lift it up to the tippy toes on the opposite side, do the same here. See if you can find a little more sink in the hips. If the heel is lifted, bring the heel back to the mat. Find reverse warrior, right arm up towards the ceiling, straighten the forward leg. Take a few breaths here. Nice active core. Return to warrior two, knee bends, arms at shoulder height. Windmill those arms down into lunge, fingertips to floor, left heel off the mat. Step back into your plank position. Lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, bend the elbows, come all the way flat to the mat. Inhale to lift the chest, and exhale to your rest position, taking a few rounds of breath here. Slowly find tabletop and lift to down dog, hips up to the ceiling, taking a few deep breaths here. Give me a few breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Look forward and step your left foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you breathe in. Exhale to forward fold. Take a few breaths here. Let your head hang heavy. Let your arms hang heavy. Low belly is drawing in. One vertebrae at a time, we'll rise to standing. Once you make it all the way to standing, bring one hand to your chest and the opposite hand to your belly. Lower your chin towards your chest, gaze stays down towards the floor or eyes closed, whichever you feel most comfortable with. And just take a moment here with yourself, feeling the beat of your heart. Noticing the pace of your breath. Lower both arms down by your sides, lifting chin from chest. We'll take 3 deep cleansing breaths, bringing arms out at our sides, breathing in as arms come up overhead. As we exhale, we'll lower arms down by our sides. Breath number 2, arms overhead, nice deep breath. Exhale, arms down by our sides. Inhale, arms up, last time. Exhale, this time to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step back into a plank position. Nice and slowly, we're gonna bring ourselves all the way down, flat to our mat. Bring your arms along the sides of your body, palms face up, and turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Bring the toes together to let the heels fall out. And if you're comfortable, try closing the eyes. And just let go completely. The mat's got you. Starting to slow down our practice. Getting our body comfortable with our stillness. Slowly turn your head to the opposite side. Now bring your chin to the mat. Place your hands underneath your shoulders and press one last time into your rest position, puppy or child's. If you're in child's, we'll take a rounded variation, arms along the sides of the body, palms face up and forehead to mat. Let the shoulders melt down away from the ears and towards the floor. Nice and slowly we'll rise to a seated position, bringing our legs out in front so they're down the length of our mat. We're sitting flat on our sits bones. Flex the feet and lift both arms overhead. Lower chin to chest, round the spine into rounded back stretch, placing hands on the knees, elbows pointing out to long edges of the mat. Shoulders relaxing away from the ears. We have a tendency in this pose to scrunch the shoulders up. And it's completely normal to feel a lot of sensation here. Just breathe through the stretch. When we feel these uncomfortable sensations, just know that we're working through them. We're working to loosen them and relieve that tension from our body. Nice and slow, we'll find staff pose as we lengthen the spine towards the ceiling. Place our hands on either sides of our hips, helping us to find a little more length. Then we'll relax into a neutral spine. Bend your right knee, placing your foot to the mat. Use your left arm to hold on to the bent knee. We'll spinal twist to the right, placing our free hand directly behind us, gazing out over right shoulder. Take a deep breath in through your nose. As you exhale out through the mouth, we'll unwind, facing forward and straightening the bent knee. Left knee bends, foot to mat. Right arm holds on. We'll spinal twist, opening our chest, placing free hand directly behind us. Take a deep breath in through your nose. As you exhale out through the mouth, we'll unwind and face forward, straightening the leg. If you're not already sitting in the center of your mat, make your way there now. Bend both knees, planting feet to floor. Place your hands on the back of the thighs and we'll roll down until we're flat on our back, just how we started. Place your arms out at your sides. And take a few breaths here. Let the knees fall together and drop your low back flat to the mat. And just focus on your breath. Draw both knees in towards your chest, wrapping the arms below the knees or on the back of the thighs. And pull the thighs nice and close to body. Feet side by side. Keep your knees drawn in towards your chest, but release your arms down to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall over to the right into recline spinal twist, and head turns to the left. This is our last pose before our final resting pose. So I always suggest here for you to close your eyes and start to turn that attention and that focus inward. As we're moving away from the physical practice and turning more to the mental side. Draw the knees back to center. Let them fall over to the left and slowly turn your head to the right. Relax the muscles in your face. Draw your knees back to the center of your chest for the last time and grab a hold of the legs once again. Slowly lift your head to meet your knees. Take a nice deep breath in, hold it at the top. As you exhale out through the mouth, release your hold on the body so you can lay flat on the mat, spreading your legs and arms nice and wide, palms face up. Let the toes fall out and eyes are still closed. Bring your attention to your breath. Start to follow every rise and fall of your chest, recognizing that with every breath you take, you find relaxation. And try to focus on the beating of your heart. You might find it's a little difficult, a little more difficult than you thought to feel the beating of your own heart once the rate slows down. Keep your focus there. Keep the breath nice and steady. If your focus has wandered, bring it back to the beating of your heart. Now slowly begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back to your body. Then slowly roll over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side. Maybe using your arm to support your head. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into a comfortable seated position. As always, to end class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today we're going to take a 4 count breath, so we'll break the inhale into a count of 4 and we'll break the exhale into a count of 4. If after the first round of breath you found that pattern came easily to you, try extending the count to a count of 5 instead. Let's all start on an exhale, releasing all the breath we have out of the body. Start to breathe in through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4, and breath out, 2, 3, 4. Last time in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, and 4. Take a second to thank yourself, thank your body for getting you through this practice. Thank yourself for coming onto your mat today. I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors the light that exists within each and every one of you. Thanks so much for practicing with me today, you guys. I hope you feel relaxed and set to start your day if you're practicing with me at 8 o'clock. If you enjoyed this class, a new version of this class is released every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, I teach a core yoga class where we focus on our core. It's a lot more tiring than this class, and that is released every Wednesday at 8 a.m. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope you guys tune in to see me next time. Thanks so much.